Hi guys, welcome back. Well, this is a slight departure from my normal videos. There will be some small amount of machining in it, but I'm in the process of swapping the engine over on my Toyota Steamer. I've had it about 12 years, and when I first bought it, it was a non-runner. And I have a good friend who owns a scrapyard, and he just specialises in Toyotas, so I've known him quite a long time, mainly going through, first of all, going getting parts for my bus. And when I first started going there, my model of car was quite plentiful in his scrapyard. You could turn up and there's possibly 6-7 examples of it that you could pick and choose from. But as the years have gone by, they've got less and less, and they're quite scarce now. You still see one or two on the road, but I don't think Baz, that's the chap's name, has had one in for quite a while. I spoke to him a few weeks ago and he hadn't seen one. They've more or less all disappeared. Anyway, when I realised they were getting a bit scarce, the last one that he had in, I took quite a lot of bits off just as spare parts. I do love the thing and intend to keep it. Hopefully it'll see my motoring days out. Anyway, the last time I called in, he'd had one scrapped, and I had a good look round it, and when I took the timing cover off, I realised that the timing belt had snapped. Now usually that's curtains for any motor. Anyway, I stripped the bits that I wanted off it, and I wasn't going to bother with the engine. I thought it's going to be a write-off, this engine. Anyway, I took the cylinder head off just for curiosity. There's a common fault on these Toyota engines, because the engine's mid-mounted and under the seats. If you don't keep on top of the coolant system, there's a tendency for the cylinder head to crack between the two valves. I think everyone I've ever seen has had a crack in between, and I fully expected this one being the same. The one that I've been using has got a slight crack, but I've not been losing any water or getting any white smoke out of the exhaust, so it's been working okay. Anyway, a few months ago the engine started making a bit of a knocking noise and started to stall, so I thought it's time to swap that engine over. And luckily, the last one that Baz had in his yard, I took the engine and cylinder head off and brought that home. It's been in the mother-in-law's garage for over 12 months. But I've got the replacement engine back in the car now, and when I took this cylinder head off, I don't know if this has been a replacement. It looks fairly new. And there's no cracks between the valves, which surprised me. But because the timing belt had snapped, the two exhaust valves on this side had bent. They'd hit the cylinders and they'd bent the exhaust valves. And I thought it's just a matter of replacing the valves. But when I've taken the valves out, I then realised that one of the valve guides, these are cast iron, one of the valve guides had broke, so it's a matter of replacing those. Now, I've ordered two off the internet. Theirs have arrived. There's a slight difference between the existing valve and the ones that I've got as replacement. At the top it's a wider one, but according to the gentleman I spoke to, these are the correct valve guides for this cylinder head. They're 8mm diameter internal. This is one of the exhaust valves that I've taken off my existing cylinder head. I intend reusing these. There are 8mm internal, which suits this valve guide. Apparently the inlet and the outlet guides are a different length, so the gentleman assured me that these were the correct ones. Now it's a matter of getting the old bulb guides out. Now you can tap and thread the guides and use a stud puller to bring them out, but you can also knock them out. They're only a push fit. You can knock them out with a ear chisel. And I knew I had a chisel. It's a long time since I used it, and I've looked everywhere in my shop and couldn't come across it. But I did find one of the old chisels that go with it, and thought that I think this had a wide blade on originally, slightly bent. So I started to machine this down. The external diameter is 13mm, so I've taken this part down to 12 and machined a nipple on the end that will then push onto, which is 8mm, then push into the bulb guide and push them out. So I'd machined this down before I finally found my ear chisel. It was over at the mother-in-law's garage. I've got another car over there that I'm working on. Anyway, I picked that up yesterday and come to fit the chisel in, and then realised because of this spring mechanism, this part isn't going to be long enough to reach inside the chamber where the bulb guides sit. I've cut that down too short. I think probably did that because, as I said, there was a slight bend in it, and I tried to straighten it up. And anyway, the long and short story is it's now too short to fit in. I've no idea where these usually come in a set of about 4. I've no idea where the others are. So I thought I could extend that with this piece of old bolt. I thought I'd machine that down to accept that 8mm on the end. Copy that end onto this side, machine the thread off, then machine it all down to 12mm. That then will sit in there, and then hopefully that's deep enough to go inside to push the bulb guide out. So first of all, I will do some machining. I'll show you how I machine this down, and then I'll move you on to the compressor that I've got. And I put the original chisel back into the holder now. As you can see, as it goes in, it doesn't reach the valve guide because of this spring mechanism. So that piece of bar I've turned down now goes on to that. This is the new valve guides that are going in, so be pushing from the top side. So I'm going to push them out from the bottom, and I've turned that down now to the 8mm internal diameter, so it's going to be pushed out that way. And we could have done with being slightly longer, but I think it's going to make a start now. I've probably got about 20mm clearance from this side of the cylinder head before it hits the spring, so I think that's ready to go. Well, this is the compressor I'm going to be using, guys. This has been over at my mother-in-law's for a good few years. Used it quite a bit over there, but I brought it back a couple of weeks ago. Started to give it a bit of a paint. It's Teclimate is the trade name on it, but I believe the compressor unit is an Ingersoll Rand. I've got two other Ingersoll, much larger than these, two other Ingersoll Rand compressors, and the design is more or less identical, so I think it's just a trade name, the Teclimate. They're an Ingersoll Rand unit. Got it running with a single phase motor. I think that's 2.5 horsepower. I've just wired it up temporary to give it a try, and redone some of the seals on it, so I'm hoping that's going to do the job. It's a while since I used it. Let's switch the thing on. Still got the belt cover to put on, but for a quick job like this I'm going to count it. Well, if you remember earlier, guys, I said that these new valve sleeves that I've got are slightly different to the ones that I'm taking out. Well, I've managed to get one out now, and I realise what the difference is. Can you see the brass collar there on the top? That is separate to the sleeve itself, and there's a rubber O-ring that goes on there. Obviously it works as an oil seal. Now the one that I've taken off, you can see the difference with them. That fits on the top. Now I've got a new head gasket set for this, and I believe there are some replacements of these in that set. So that might be the solution to that problem that I had. Now, I'd ordered two of these. Two of the valves had bent, and I thought only one of the valve sleeves had broken, but I ordered two just in case, and I'm glad that I did, because I've managed to punch one of them out, and as it's going through, the other one's collapsed as well. With it being cast iron, it's split down the centre there, so it's lucky that I did order two, because I will definitely need two to go back in. Now I tried initially with this extension that I made to the earth chisel, and it just wasn't touching it at all. So I drilled 13mm outside diameter of the sleeve. So I drilled through first of all with a 10, and then I went carefully through with a 12mm reamer to try and weaken the walls of the side so it has less of a grip on the aluminium head. And then went so far with this extension I made, and then it was bottoming out, so I made another extension with an old centre punch that I've got. So that's definitely going to be long enough now to go all the way through. Let me get my compressor up to speed and we'll get this second one out. Looks like I've lost that one, guys. It's gone flying across the other side of the room. I'll just go and retrieve it so I can show you. Before I go and find that, let me just show you one of the valves that was bent. This is one of the ones that I'm going to put in out of the original cylinder head, and this is the one that's bent. You see the difference? So it's had a fair old bash. But fortunately it doesn't seem to have damaged the cylinder, so the piston I should say. So I think the bottom half of the block is okay, and now I've got the two valve guides out. It's just a matter of pushing the new ones in, getting it all back together, and we might be motoring again soon. No, sorry guys, I've spent 10 minutes looking for it and I've no idea where it's gone. I should have had a cloth at the back when it was coming out, but I was that keen to get the thing out, I didn't realise it'd fly across to the side. So if I ever find it again, I'll let you see it. Anyway, can you see the two valve guides that I've taken out now? Well, the hole that's left. This one might show up the best there at the top. You see I'm going to put my finger through the light coming through, so, and there doesn't seem to be any damage to the cylinder head. These valve guides are chamfered at the bottom. This top part is what takes the oil seal, so they go in that way, and I believe you push them in from the top with having that chamfer on, so that seems to be a nice push fit. You make that out there? I think so, yeah. I'm toying with the idea of pushing these in with the large arbor press that I've got, but I'm undecided yet. I don't think there's any reason why I can't use that air chisel to push them in again, but I don't know. I'm going to have a think about that. At the moment I'm just happy I've got the old ones out. Yeah, looking at this cylinder head, I think this has been a replacement at some time. It's far too clean and in too good a condition to be the original one. Now, when I first bought mine, I did some research on it on the Steamer Owners Club. That's when I found out it was a common fault with them for the cracking the cylinder heads. And at the time you could still buy original Toyota cylinder heads for them. I think they're somewhere in the region of £600–700 each. But they were soon snapped up with all the trouble that people were having with them. And then the Chinese started sending copies over. I think those were about £250, but from what I read, they were a load of rubbish. So I never bothered with those and went straight for a replacement from the scrapyard. So I think I'm making progress with this now. But while I'm in here, guys, I'll show you the other compressor that I've got in this room. Well, this is an Atlas Copco compressor that I've had for quite a while. Good, well-known compressor make. Twin cylinder. If you see some of the older Ingersoll Rand compressors, you'll notice that the two cylinders are of different sizes. And from what I understand, the largest cylinder does the initial compression, and then that compressed air then is sent over to the smaller cylinder for further compression before it reaches the tank. This model, I don't think it does that. There's no connection between the two cylinders apart from the release valves. Both exit into this reservoir here, and then originally they went down this coolant pipe into the tank, but what I have been doing, I've taken that coolant pipe off, and with the pipe that exits the reservoir, I've got an additional pipe in. This is going to go around the bike with a 1-inch hose connector on, and I've built, that's fastened on the wall, a radiator coolant system. So once it exits the compressor chambers, goes around the back, up this pipe, you can't see it there, can you? I'll show you in a second. Up this pipe and through a radiator system before it comes back down and enters the receiver tank on that side. Let me just lift you up and see on that one. There you go. Well, this is the radiator system that I made. It comes up this pipe initially, through all these pipes. They're all on a slant, so hopefully any condensation is going to run down to the bottom, and then it exits to the top with a drain plug at the bottom before it goes back into the main receiver. I'm fitting this extractor fan as well on. This is a 3-phase motor on this. It'll be the speed of a controllable with a frequency drive. That's going to be mounted at the top, so I'm hoping that will make a big difference to the amount of water that actually goes into the main receiver. Well, I think that's a bit of it for today, guys. A bit different there, but hopefully you found something in that that was interesting. If you did, please subscribe. See you on the next video. Thanks for watching.